I like to use the term blackness and whiteness, meaning that that is a kind of space of subjectivity that you occupy, or an identity that you occupy that you can potentially move in and out of. And I do think there's a way in which the by the division between black and white operates really as a spectrum, and often people of color are within that. And so certainly within the United States, Asians, Latinx, experience experience racialization and what it means to be dehumanized and degraded historically and in the contemporary moment. There was an incident over the weekend where a Filipino gentleman was literally writing Black Lives Matter in chalk on his wall and was accosted by two white people saying, "You can't do that. That's not your home." Like there was not the possibility to imagine that he owned that home and that he actually had a right to designate, what was said on his threshold. He was completely racialized at that moment. Or the gentleman who was hit by the police, who happened to be white, but because he was standing for Black rights, was in a curious way almost blackened at that moment. And you could see his life didn't matter, right? Because they just walked right by them and then lied about it. And so I think there are ways to begin to understand precisely, well, because they're not essential categories, they're lived experiences. And I think that we really have to work hard against our atomization as individuals, which is part and parcel of the modern project, and really discover our shared humanness together, because I think that's really essential to moving forward.
The singularity that whiteness brings to not just our policies, procedures, our pedagogy, but to our physical spaces. Our entire zoning relationship to zoning is centered on whiteness, individualizing plots and lots of land that we can all have as the kings and queens of our domain, right? But fundamentally, specifically communities of color, often operate in commune, right? Like we operate in commune. And so when we talk about those spaces that define whiteness or blackness, or why a system is preferring, biasing whiteness or blackness, we have to recognize the kind of cultural ingrained condition of a people that has been particularly defined by those two ends of the spectrum.